Welcome to the City Commission meeting, Tuesday, May 20th. Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Here.
Commissioner Opelt,
Here.
Commissioner Motta,
Here.
Commissioner Mitten.
Here.
Mayor, we have 5 commissioners present. The quorum of 3 is met.
Thank you. Would you join me in the flag salute? We have 2 proclamations. I'm good. Thought you were just up here the other day.
Yeah, I was. I was long-winded. I'll go quicker tonight.
Okay, this is a proclamation for National Public Works Week. Whereas public works infrastructure is above, below, and all around us, we are able to have clean water, safe streets, efficient traffic, and livable communities because of the city public works and public utilities department. And whereas these services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives and create a lasting impression, the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works and utility systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, traffic, and storm sewers. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of the public works official. Whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who've been winning awards, who staff the public works and public utilities department, are materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. There, I, Karen McCullough, Mayor of the City of Manhattan, do proclaim the week of May 18th to 24th, 2025, as National Public Works Week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to invite a few of my coworkers up.
Please do.
I want to introduce a few of my division heads, if you'll humor me for just a second.
I will.
Thank you.
Do I have a choice?
Yes, you do, actually. So real quick, these are the division heads, and these are the people that do actually all of the work in public works. They're the ones that do the health and safety and welfare of the community. Bill Heatherman, he is our stormwater engineer, and Bill manages the levee. He managed the levee project for us. He also manages the floodplain regulations. So if you're paying flood insurance or you want to pay flood insurance because of Bill's hard work, you get about a 20% discount on your flood insurance.
Thank you, Bill.
Karen Becker, she's our principal engineer. So Karen manages all the internal design and construction. She also has applied for several grants last year. She got some grants for Juliet's and for Valley Drive Sidewalk, and she's working on a grant this year for Westwood Mill and Overlay, for some mill and overlay on Fort Riley Boulevard, which is desperately needed. So
Thank you.
that's what Karen does for us. Kathy Sterling. So Kathy Sterling is our office coordinator, and as everybody knows, office coordinators actually run the world. They actually run everything. So Kathy manages our finances and our public relations. She also does, she also has 3 employees. She does customer service for us. So pretty much everything runs through Kathy before it goes anywhere.
Does
So,
she have to talk to the pothole complainers?
no, that's the guy a couple more down.
Oh, okay.
Down there. But when Kathy does get those calls, she does a great job with them. She knows where to route them, and she gets them calmed down before they get to us. So we really appreciate her. Ken Hayes is our project coordinator. So Ken Hayes manages all of the construction projects in the city, tens of millions of dollars of projects last year. Ken's also a licensed surveyor, so he keeps all of our database and all our monuments correct throughout the city. So that's what Ken does for us. Dan Tyson is our street superintendent, so he is the pothole. He actually creates the pothole, takes the phone call, and fixes it all Dan takes the pothole calls and fixes them. He also manages our street department. Dan fought a gigantic blizzard for us last year. And without Dan, we all have been stuck at home for about 14 days. So that's what Dan does for us. He does a great job, and we really appreciate him. He also has fleet and stormwater under him too.
Whoa.
So Dan wears lots of hats for us. You want to introduce your Matt?
Yeah, it's Matt Kerbel. He's the street fleet and stormwater supervisor. So he actually handles a lot more. I just pass it on.
So because she passes it to you and you pass it.
Now you've got the workflow.
And at the end is Jason Cook. He's our fleet manager for our fleet shop. He takes care of the entire city fleet.
So this is the public works side, and I'll turn it over to Kevin for the utility side.
All right, thank you. You guys want to rotate?
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for recognizing the Public Utilities Department. Good evening. My name's Kevin Niles. I'm the Director of Public Utilities. The Public Utilities Department provides a vital service to the Manhattan community, ensuring our citizens have access to safe, clean, and reliable drinking water, as well as effective sanitary sewer collection and treatment. Although we have a highly dedicated staff of over 70 employees, from field operations to administration, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few of the key individuals who are leaders within our department. First, Assistant Director Randy DeWitt. I would like to recognize Randy's outstanding dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to ensuring the efficient and reliable delivery of our vital public utility service to the community. His strategic vision and operational excellence have played a critical role in advancing our infrastructure improvements, promoting sustainability, and enhancing service delivery to residents and businesses alike. Although Randy's efforts, through Randy's efforts, the department has maintained high standards of safety, innovation, and responsiveness in the face of growing challenges. I want to thank him for his continued service and exceptional contributions, which have strengthened the foundation of our Public Utilities Department and helped shape more resilient and future-ready community. Next, Ethan Kloster. I'd like to recognize Ethan Kloster as our water plant supervisor for his exceptional leadership and technical expertise and steadfast commitment to safeguarding the quality and reliability of our community's water supply. Under his supervision, the water treatment team has consistently upheld the highest standards of safety, compliance, and operational excellence. His proactive approach to maintenance, innovation, and staff development has ensured efficient plant operations and uninterrupted services to our residents. Then we have our wastewater treatment plant supervisor, Mr. Clint Bevins. Clint's expertise and commitment to our regulatory compliance, operational efficiency, and system reliability has been instrumental in maintaining our high performance of our treatment facilities. Through his guidance, and the team has met or exceeded environmental standards, ensuring the safe and responsibility return of clean water to the ecosystem. We're grateful for Clint's continued effort to enhance sustainability support and development and ensure the resilience of our essential infrastructure. His work makes a lasting impact on our community every day. I would also like to acknowledge our utilities field supervisor, Mr. Mike Eder. Mike has demonstrated exceptional leadership, hands-on expertise, and unwavering dedication to maintaining and improving our water and wastewater infrastructure within the field. His commitment to safety, efficiency, and teamwork has been vital in overseeing field operations, responding to service needs, and ensuring the reliable delivery and essential utility services to our community. Mike consistently demonstrates professionalism and problem solving under pressure, serving as a trusted leader and role model to the field crew. We thank Mike for his continued hard work and for being a key force in upholding the quality, reliability, and integrity of our utility systems. And lastly, although he could not be here this evening, I want to recognize Environmental Compliance Manager Dr. Abdu Durar for his exceptional leadership, diligence, and commitment to ensuring our organization's operation meets or exceeds all environmental regulations and standards. Through his deep expertise and proactive approach, He has played a vital role in safeguarding environmental quality, maintaining regulatory compliance, and promoting sustainable practice across all facilities within our department. Abdu's work has not only minimized risk, but also enhanced our reputation and responsible for a forward-thinking organization. We extend our sincere thanks to him for his ongoing efforts to protect natural resources and support a healthier, more sustainable future to our community. Lastly, in recognizing these outstanding individuals, we honor not only their professional achievements, but also their unwavering commitment to service, excellence, and the well-being of our community. Their leadership, dedication, and integrity are the foundation of our continued success and progress. On behalf of this entire organization, I would like to send my deepest gratitude to the individuals who have made a significant contribution. Let us continue and support and celebrate these people who keep our utilities running strong and even stronger throughout our community and keep our community thriving. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for pointing out the things that we take for granted when we turn on our faucet. Would you like to join me? I have one more proclamation. This is for Mental Health Month, which I think I could use. Whereas mental health is an essential part of overall well-being, impacting individuals, families, and communities across Manhattan, Kansas. And whereas 1 in 5 American adults experiences a mental health condition each year, and everyone faces challenges in life that can impact their mental health. And whereas despite its prevalence, mental health remains shrouded in stigma, preventing many from seeking help. And whereas early intervention and access to quality care are crucial for managing mental health conditions and improving quality of life. Whereas May is recognized nationally as Mental Health Awareness Month, now therefore I, Karen McCullough, Mayor of the City of Manhattan, do proclaim May 2025 as Mental Health Month and call upon businesses, schools, government agencies, healthcare providers, organizations, and citizens of the City of Manhattan to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, its relationship to a strong, vibrant community, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you.
I just say, I heard someone talking about the mental health class that you teach to groups, mental health
First aid.
mental health first aid. And I would really, tell people if they have a group that it's really worthwhile. It's like a 4-hour course or?
So that's self-care. So
Oh.
mental health first aid. First, my name is Mike Riscala. I'm the
Sorry.
CEO of Pawnee Mental Health. We are the mental health authority for a 10-county area, and we are also the safety net provider of mental health services in our 10-county area, including Riley County, and we have 6 locations in the City of Manhattan. Since we were founded in 1956 as the Riley County Mental Health Center, and our name has evolved since, our mission has been the same: to provide care, treatment, advocacy, and access to mental health and substance use treatment to all residents of our, when it started, Riley County, and then expanded to 10 counties. Mental health first aid came to us as a federal grant a year and a half ago, and first year our goal was to provide the mental health first aid training. Well, it's not just the mental health first aid, question, persuade, and refer, which we call QPR. We also provide mental health first aid for youth and adolescents. We also provide self-care. Our goal for year 1 was to provide 500 trainings. We exceeded that. We provided trainings to, not 500 trainings, trainings to 500 individuals. We exceeded that by providing trainings to 1,056 individuals in year 1. Our goal in year 2, which we're just 6 months through year 2. Our goal is to provide trainings to 750, and we're past that goal already. Mental Health Awareness Month is a great, although sad, because of the prevalence of mental health. And as Mayor McCullough has mentioned, there's a number of people who experience mental health, and I would say 1 in every household, if you think about it. That's what we're here for. I don't want to give you all kinds of statistics that would make you feel there's no hope. I would give you statistics to encourage you to think about this and why this is important. And this is according to Mental Health America, which ranks the different states in terms of access to mental health in 15 different criteria. That in 2022, year 2022 had the highest rate, the highest number of death by suicide ever recorded in the US. And that is 1 death, 1 suicide every 11 minutes. 5% of adults and 13% of youth reported experiencing serious thoughts of suicide. 23% of adults experienced a mental illness in the past year. This is equivalent to almost 60 million Americans. 1 in every 5 youth had at least 1 major depressive episode in the last year. 1 in 4 adults with frequent mental distress could not see a provider, doctor, or advanced practice nurse, or a therapist due to cost. They could not afford it. So it went untreated. 10% of adults and 8.5% of youth still have private insurance that does not cover mental health. There are 340, and I leave you with this. There are 340 people for every 1 mental health provider in the US. Thank you for your support. Pawnee is here. We are the safety net provider. We are the mental health authority on behalf of the county. We welcome people from all walks of life. We welcome people with all diagnoses. And thank you for your continued support and advocacy for mental health.
And I'm sorry, I just sort of threw that off at you, the mental
No.
health. But I had an acquaintance that I referred to Pawnee, who is a professor at K-State, and she had 2 people in her lab that were having significant, and so she went to the mental health, information meeting and found it very, very helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We do our best to do lunch and learns and promote awareness about the services that we provide. We serve over 7,000, we offer services to over 7,000 individuals every year. I encourage you to go on our website, pawnee.org. Go to the annual report. You will read all kinds of great things that we have done. Continues to be an issue that we all as a community face, but encourage you to continue to support and advocate. Thank you.
Thank you. They said you didn't want the. Okay. At this point, we take public comments which are not related or do not apply to the general agenda, consent, or regular. So I think, Gary, you've signed up for, and as we move on, please give your name and address, and then you can go sign. Gary, come up. You can go sign your in over there after you're finished.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Gary Oles. I live at 3308 Frontier Circle. I'm bringing to you the same message that I brought to the Riley County Commission on Monday and plan to bring to the USD 383 School Board tomorrow evening as they meet in the new Lincoln Center, which is nice use of the facility. As you know, and you've heard many times, not just from this pulpit, from people that are your peers or your constituents, the citizens need tax relief. They need property tax relief. As you know, by statute, or at least my understanding of the statute, is R&R is the expectation. It's the law. When you exceed it, then you have to have the public hearing, as you did last year. So you're familiar with the process. So I understand it's going to be a tight year, not just for the city, but I'm sure it's been a tight year for a lot of people. June 1st, as you know, is an exciting date for the city of Manhattan, the school district, and the county, because that's when the appraiser certifies, or thereabouts June, certifies so you know what the assessed value is. 2024, the assessed value for Manhattan was $694 million. 25, $723 million. It's reasonable to think it's going to be higher than $723 million this next time around. I would just ask, as you go through this process, and I realize it's a ways before you actually get a presentation of the budget, so we're wait, but I want to be ahead instead of behind. When the R&R hearing rolls around, which I assume it will, I'll be back. Couldn't be here last year because of our son's wedding, but hopefully you heard the pleas of the people, of the 9 people who were here last year, asking for relief. It's really important that you just keep it in the back of your mind because it affects your tax bill too, because you're owners. And what's interesting about this is that really the people that it impacts the most are the people who own their home. You'll rarely see a property company up here pleading for lower taxes because they just pass it on to the tenants, which increases the cost of living for folks. I know you have a tough job. There's a lot of people that are concerned. I know you're concerned because you want to do what you can. Just as a suggestion, probably a very unpopular suggestion, but you really need to take a hard look at administrative compensation. In my opinion, it's off the charts. Maybe normal, but it's off the charts. The mills that are allocated, if you look at it that way, to just the top 50 administrative compensation
Gary.
is significant. About 8 mills. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. These are items of a routine and housekeeping nature, or items which have been previously reviewed by the city commission.
Are we going to have commissioner comments?
Yeah, oh, sorry, yeah, commissioner comments.
Yeah, I'll start. Just a reminder, as students leave, construction really begins. So a reminder to visit, shop, dine at the businesses that are most impacted by construction.
Thanks, John, for joining me on Saturday. We had about 12 people come out and had a really great conversation. We went well over the time that I had booked the room for, but nobody else had signed up after me, so it wasn't really a problem. But it was really great, again, to have a good conversation with folks. I really encourage everyone to show up. I'll be having another one at the end of June. I think Susan would like to join me this time. It is so much more effective than having 3 minutes in front of us at a meeting. Come and we can actually have some nice back and forth. You can hear from other community members. So please be on the lookout. I'll be posting that on social media when I have that scheduled.
Okay, nothing? Okay. I heard that the Friends of the Caw and Rotary Club did a great pickup on the Kansas River a couple weeks ago and found an awful lot of things that shouldn't have been in the Kansas River or any place. Okay, the consent agenda, we have one person who wishes to speak on the consent agenda, and that is Zach Doyle.
Hello, Commissioners. So this is on the younger issue on D6. Here to ask you to reconsider your vote at the last legislative meeting, which I already recognized several times that it was difficult, that it must be difficult to live along the Anderson corridor because of the traffic situation. Yet here we are with the possibility of adding up to 500 more people along that corridor by rezoning this to high density. Yeah, I have 2 points I'd like to address here. First, I've heard it mentioned several times of the possibility or possible benefits of high-density zoning existing among single-family housing. In every study I have seen, they mention that the home values can appreciate, but not directly to the high-density zone, but because of the amenities that often come with those high-density zones. What public amenities are we adding to this high-density rezoning? Are we adding a park to this? Increasing the width of the sidewalk next to the high traffic zone of Anderson is not going to raise any property values. And the possibility of adding a pedestrian unfriendly roundabout that has been proposed for this as well will also not be popular with pedestrians. To be clear, the studies I have read on this topic often cite that nearby commercial and public spaces that come with high density zones is what drives up these home values. Where is that possible in this area? If it isn't, then we probably won't see the benefits that have been suggested. Second, there is a potentially significant safety issue with traffic and rezoning this area to high density. Some have wanted to take comparison to what it must have been like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s in this neighborhood. Beyond the fact that the city and the overall traffic density has greatly increased over the years, I should hope that the safety expectations of ours have increased as well over the years. We are talking about introducing the possibility of adding upwards of 500 more people to this area with this rezoning. And this is all within a relatively small, closed-off neighborhood. Again, it's already been recognized that Anderson has heavy traffic already. When adding hundreds more people directly onto this corridor, this becomes not just a problem for this neighborhood, but for the entire city. For myself personally, with the exception of certain times of the year, it does not feel safe to travel out of the neighborhood regularly as a pedestrian. As such, my children and many of the children of my neighbors often utilize the currently quiet streets as the only available public space they can play on and also safely access. So if you are to rezone this to high-density housing, where are these children supposed to safely play when you introduce so much more traffic to the neighborhood? Do we have a new expectation that we have to drive somewhere to be able to just take a walk safely? How do you plan to address the pedestrian safety with the children of the hundreds of new people getting to school safely? Other areas that have high-density zoning have had better planning that address these issues, for which you have nothing to provide this neighborhood. I understand the knee-jerk reaction to reject the opinions of myself and my neighbors as run-of-the-mill NIMBYism, and I can't possibly offer you anything that would persuade you from that position if that is where you've submitted yourself. However, I'd urge you to reconsider this rezoning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the consent agenda? Hearing none. Commissioners, do you want to speak?
Karen, I have two questions.
Sure.
on items. Item D5, which asks us to override the recommendation of the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board and approve ordinance number 7753, repealing ordinance number 7737, and amending the Manhattan Development Code. I'm a little bit confused about why we are overriding the planning board when they recommended the approval of the amendments. So could someone clarify that for me?
Yeah, I would ask our Deputy City Attorney, Rachel, to step to the podium and explain this very unique situation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Am I amplified? Okay, I don't often come up here. If I can, I don't know how to explain it except to just kind of recap what happened at that meeting, which was that there were questions about the way that parking was calculated for multifamily zones, where essentially the proposed formula resulted in this oddity where past a certain threshold, it seemed that there would be actually fewer parking spaces than in a smaller size structure. John Adam, who was presenting the item and the changes, acknowledged that that was true and it needed to be corrected. There was some discussion amongst the board members about how to best approach that math question, if you will, and they kind of came to the conclusion that they trusted that John would make a correction, do some math, and study it in a way that would be probably better serve you than them trying to do it that evening and offer something. So though they did approve the MDC as presented that evening, they also kind of acknowledged that likely you would be overriding them if you implemented a different parking formula, because that would change the text that they technically approved, since they could only approve what was before them that evening. We did discuss that they could, not reach a decision. We could come back with something else. They didn't see the need to delay the MDC changes as a whole for that reason. I know it was a little bit odd, and in the future, maybe we could make it a little less confusing for you all when we try to summarize it in your AIS, but it does, I hope that recap kind of helps you, Commissioner, and if anybody has follow-up questions, I'll stand for those.
Yes, thank you, Rachel.
Okay, thank
I
you.
thought it might be that, but wanted some clarification. We had discussed this, I think, when this came before us once before, but it's not intuitive as it's presented.
I understand.
Yep. Thank you. I also had a question, and I see that Brian is still out in the hallway. I had a question on G4, the request to exchange federal funds for state funding. I'm not sure if we covered this last year. I don't recall the process, and I would just like to understand why it's preferable to have state funding rather than federal funding.
So this is a pass-through program that comes from the federal government to the state government. They don't have to pass through those funds to us. They do choose to do that. This is also a gas tax-free fund, and we have two choices with those dollars. We can either use them on state highways for projects on state highways if we had any state highways in the city, or we can exchange them for 90 cents on the dollar, and we can use that money with what we want to do with it.
So it's the increased flexibility, even though it's a slightly lower amount?
Correct, yeah. If we were Wichita, Salina, and we had state highways that were our maintenance, we could use those dollars for that maintenance. But Tuttle Creek Boulevard, Seth Child, Fort Riley Boulevard are state maintenance.
Thank you.
Yep.
I imagine we'd probably spend that 10% on administration anyways, right?
On administration, I don't think you could say that.
Okay.
No. Several states or several cities in the state have state highways that they have to maintain, and that's why they have that in there. That's really why. I don't think we've ever not exchanged, because I don't think we've ever had a project on a state highway that was 100% state. But several years ago, the state did not give us this option, and they actually kept the dollars during the Brownback administration. So we were very happy that they reinstated the program.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, sure. Other questions? Go ahead.
I'll move that we approve.
I have a couple things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to give it, on the D2, the charter ordinance for setting fees and costs at the municipal court. At some time in the future, I'd like to have just a breakout of what those fees are. I don't like the thought, and I've talked to some of the people at the jail, that we sort of have a debtor's prison, people who can't pay their fees and that they owe, and so therefore they get put in jail till they can afford to pay them, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'd like to know if, what those fees are and, where we're going with them. On G5, the special alcohol grant, is that the persons we are paying for at the jail to deal with drugs and mental health?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's clear. John suggested that last year, and so it was supposed to be a one-year thing, and we were supposed to look at the efficacy of the whole thing, and I don't think we've ever discussed whether or not that was I'm sure it was a good idea, but we haven't really discussed that.
No, I thought we
They
talked
have-
about it at one of
The
Right.
information in the packet.
Sure.
meetings.
Deputy Director Friedline is also in the audience if you would like to ask her to come to the podium and speak to this program.
Sure.
Yeah, I found the report that was submitted rather light on information.
Yeah, we just hired that position and she came on in January, so we've only really had the first quarter to be able to implement that, but it's been a tremendous promising program for us. We were able to potentially place, I think it was 8 individuals through Oxford House when they transitioned out of the jail. And daily, she is meeting with our inmates somewhat on some of the mental health side of the substance abuse problems, but also trying to get those services available to them once they serve their time as well, to work on the addiction, to try and reduce that recidivism. It's been a great program for us, and we would appreciate any continued support of those funds, because I do think they are going to truly help in some regard, and maybe it's a small number, but at least help improve some crime rates and reduce that recidivism too.
Yeah, and I just say, one of our biggest issues right now is the population in the jail. And it's particularly disproportionate to the crime rate that we have. So anything we can do on recidivism, if that's that right, people coming back.
Hard word.
Is, you know, I think much needed in, you know, substance abuse and all that. I really think this is a, you know, fantastic thing that we can do with the jail, and I think more that we could do with this would be very helpful.
Okay, thank you. One more thing, on G6, the business park purchase and sale with Amazon, I am delighted to hear that we are putting something in the business park. That's been one of my things forever. I realize that there are 2 large areas, the business park, which are not owned by the city, and the developers do not wish to develop, and so we're sort of stalled there. But getting that, that was done in 1997, and I'd like to see it full. And so I'm pleased. This is going to be basically an Amazon warehouse, so there aren't energy issues or anything like that.
And we do have some good safety nets in that agreement.
We do.
If they don't build in 3 years,
We get,
buy it back for the sale price. So, yeah, that's it.
I just want to acknowledge, I know Darren, you worked really hard on that project, and it's taken a long time. So excited to see that moving, and hear there may be more, and good work on the contract as well for the city.
thank you. Okay, hearing no public, no more commissioners.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you call the roll, please, Brenda?
Commissioner Anupchek,
Yes.
Commissioner Opelt,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitten,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
The next item on our agenda is a public hearing. We have to open the public hearing. This is related to an item, comments from the public.
Am I good?
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Stephanie Peterson, Director of Community Development. This evening, the item during your public hearing is for a consideration of an ordinance that would establish an RHID, a Reinvestment Housing Incentive District, as well as approving a development plan and then adopting a development agreement, or approving a development agreement. This is for the LK Townhomes that we have talked about several times now. Just a reminder of the RHID process. This is outlined in state statute. We are on step number 6. As I just mentioned, the public hearing that has the ordinance, the development plan, and the development agreement. From 30 days from this evening, the veto procedure would kick in for the school district and for the county. Even though that veto procedure will already have begun, we will still take second reading of the ordinance on June 3rd if the commission approves first reading this evening. Reminder of the site, there are 26 undeveloped lots along Little Kitten Avenue.
Stephanie,
Yes.
we just had our second reading of the ordinance that says we only have to do 2 reading of ordinances.
It didn't go into effect until June 1st.
Ah, okay.
So, yeah. So this is one that's caught in that quagmire.
All right.
So here's the boundary that we have been talking about. Just a quick overview of the project. The developer is here this evening, so they can go through more specifics. But the developer is Frontier Development Group. Specifically, we've talked about 26 duplex units in the development plan. You'll note that there it says between 20 and 30. That just gives flexibility for the developer as they actually begin to work through that site process and the building permit process. The total project cost is just under $9 million, and the property currently generates about $7,000, so all 26 lots currently generate about $7,000 in property tax today. The RHID request is for a maximum of 15 years or $1.95 million. And they're also utilizing a pay-as-you-go approach, so no payment can be made until at least 50% of the units are constructed. That is outlined in the development agreement that we have with the developer. As far as construction goes, they have 12 months to commence construction on any of those units, and then they have 48 months or 4 years to entirely complete the project. If it's been 4 years and we do not have at least 20 units, they would not be reimbursed for any expenses after that. They would not be reimbursed for any expenses after that date. They are required to prepare a cost-benefit analysis or a financial analysis as part of the RHID. This one was a pretty substantial one that was prepared by a third party. The city was not the client for this financial analysis, so if you have any specific questions on the details of this, I would ask for the developer to answer those. And then the last thing I wanted to add is we see here at the very end kind of the net revenue that the city and the county could both anticipate over a 25-year period, including the RHID payments. I did some very elementary type of math to see how much we've actually collected over the last 37 years from this property, and then if we use that same kind of methodology, what we could produce over the next 37. So these lots were platted in 1988. And over the last 37 years, just using kind of today's evaluation and mill levy, they've generated about $250,000 in property tax for all three entities. If we took that, again, that same just very generic type of math and we applied it over the next 37 years, if this project were to be completed, it would generate about $5.5 million for the three taxing entities. There is a course that just shy of $2 million request to be put back into the project. So even taking that into consideration, this project would net about $3.5 million over the next 37 years for the taxing entities. Again, $250,000 over the last 37, potentially $3.5 million over the next 37, and that doesn't take into consideration any inflation. It's just kind of a flat value that we put in there. That is what I have for you this evening. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those, but we also have the developer, and they have a quick presentation for you as well.
Questions for Stephanie?
Yeah, so the 15 years, I think in the agreement, is it like 17 and a half years because they have 12 months to start or something like that?
So that was one of the things we worked between the developer and bond counsel with. It's defining the term of the RHID. It's on page 3 of the development agreement. It's page 6 of that PDF. There's actually 3 different provisions, and it's kind of which happens the earliest. So one is 15 years after the date at which at least 50% of the residential units are constructed. So that would be the earliest that they could receive any sort of revenue that's in that RHID pot. The other one was 17.5 years after the date, actually after June 3rd. That just gives a little bit of time for them to actually start construction and begin working through. And then the third part of that was it would be once if the developer has expended all of the revenue that is outlined in this agreement, that $1.9 million, and say it's year 13, the RHID would end at that point. It wouldn't continue for any longer of a term.
And that would be if property values increase beyond what we have projected or whatever to pay off that 1.9 faster.
Correct.
Okay.
Other questions for Stephanie? For the developer?
Did Stephanie say they have a presentation?
They do.
Can I ask one more clarifying question?
Sure.
When was the original special assessment first assessed? When did they start those start getting assessed?
Probably in the early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how long has that been paid off?
It would have been 20 years. Yeah.
Say again?
It would have been a 20-year
Okay.
benefit district.
So
2000
probably about 2010 to 2012.
So those specials have been paid off for almost 15 years, and they've just been sitting there. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Commissioners, good evening. My name's Tyler Holloman. I'm with Frontier Development Group. I'm also one of the principals in the Manhattan Infill Housing Project, here with my taller partner, Gavin, who's also a principal in the Manhattan Infill Housing Project. we're going to keep this fairly brief. I know you guys have heard this before, but it is a complex project, and so we just appreciate the chance to come talk about it one more time with you guys. So real quick, what is the Manhattan Infill Housing Project? This is an initiative that's going to bring 44 new homes to the Manhattan and Riley County community. 40 of those are workforce housing. They're in that workforce housing range as defined by both KHRC and by the city. It is a $15 million investment, so we believe that's a pretty substantial, pretty sizable investment in workforce housing right here in our community. That $15 million number is just the workforce component, so we haven't identified those 4 market rate homes yet. We did want to take a minute and just say this is a local project. This is we're local developers. We're going to plan to utilize, or we will utilize, local contractors, local subcontractors, local investors, local banks, of course, local trades. All of the materials will be purchased right here locally. And then again, as the name implies, this is an infill project. So we have 3 different sites, all on infill locations, all properly zoned and with existing infrastructure. Again, I know you've seen this map before, but here's the 3 sites. The RHID request before you tonight is at the top of the picture here, the LK site. I did want to take just a quick minute and thank you guys for approving the Lee Mill Village resolution on the consent agenda tonight. So one of these sites, ironically, you actually just approved a resolution for. That is 1 month shy of a 2-year process for us to go through and work with city staff on replatting and taking that site back from a city-owned site and a liability and repurposing that back into part of this 40-unit workforce housing development. So we're pretty excited about that. Again, current RHID request, Stephanie did a great job covering, but these are, the request before you today is located on infill sites on the Little Kitten Avenue. We do have a plan for 26 duplexes. That's how the site is currently zoned and currently platted. Construction budget of constantly moving north, but currently just under $9 million with that RHID request. As you see there, over a 15-year period, and as Peter, as you mentioned now, we had to build a little bit of a buffer into the development agreement just to give us some time to get these projects off the ground. But our hope and intent would be to move through these as quickly as possible and to pay that down on no more than a 15-year period.
Good evening, Commissioners. As Tyler mentioned, thank you for the time and effort we've all put in on this. This has been a long, winding process, and we're glad that we're getting closer. So it's an exciting project. Just a few things from the financial analysis from our third party. Steve Robb is his name. The city's used him multiple times before on some of these financial analysis projects. Outside of the property tax revenue that will be generated from this site over the foreseeable future, after that 15-year burn-off period, maybe sooner if valuations keep going up, is the construction-related sales tax. So as Tyler mentioned, there's not going to be an IRB, there's not going to be a sales tax exemption on this. So both the city and the county are going to receive immediate sales tax dollars. That I think is an important component we wanted to touch on. And then the second number there, that little over $1.05 million in new family sales tax, that's an estimate. That's over 25 years. A lot of these RHIDs, they get valued on 25-year increments because the maximum term of these RHIDs are 25 years. So that's what why 25 years is always kind of the magic number there. So 12 to 16 jobs created, that's just based on the total construction project size. And then we just also had mentioned and highlighted there a net revenue figure there for the county of almost about $1 million over the 25-year period.
Real quick, Gavin, that new family sales tax, that doesn't estimate that every unit will be a new family. Is that right? I thought I read that they used like some kind of pull factor.
There is a pull factor there, and the math it gets pretty detailed into how it looks, but yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay. Just wanted to point that out, that we're not assuming every house that you build is going to bring in a new family. There are going to be some families that move within the community into these.
That's correct.
But to clarify, I think that the analysis considered 10, 20, and 30 miles out from Manhattan to draw people, potentially draw people in.
Yeah, there's a formula they use, and there's a lot of details that go into that formula. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on that, and that's why we hired that third-party analysis. But yeah, you both have spoken to it pretty eloquently. This slide we're really excited about this. So KHRC has approved state funding, both in the form of a moderate income housing grant as well as Kansas Housing Investor tax credits. We received the maximum on both of those applications. So that's $1.85 million that's getting imported from the state of Kansas to this community. That's a really big deal. That's never happened in the city of Manhattan's history. So this is the first time that that's ever happened, and we're really proud of that. Those applications are over 200 pages. And they're very much scrutinized. I want to say it's less than 20% of all applicants actually get approved, let alone the maximum. So the state of Kansas sees a lot of things in Manhattan that wanted them to approve this, and we were excited to get it. So wanted to mention that. Again, they're imported from Topeka to Manhattan. Those were going somewhere. Might as well be in our community there. State funding ensures the project feasibility, maintains affordable housing as such, and then there's a land use restriction agreement, or a LORA, that will be executed within the state of Kansas. So they monitor and ensure that these homes are going to be in compliance. There's income restrictions, there's sale price restrictions that are monitored from the state of Kansas. So why that's so important is the city doesn't have to use extra resources, the county doesn't have to use resources to monitor these things, but these tax dollars from the state, from this city, are going to good use and are going to be monitored, make sure that they're following suit. Maybe the most important slide that I'm really excited to talk about is the community support. So, I mean, you can see all the logos there. The City of Manhattan, you guys have, you guys provided your support for the MIH grant and the KHITC grant, so thank you for that. USD 383 has written a letter of support. Several of the largest employers in the City of Manhattan have also thrown their support behind it, just knowing how important this housing is in the area. So Kansas State University, the state of Kansas, and Commerce has all been behind this project. And just quickly speaking to, we have some momentum going on in this community. I mean, the PTMW, that's going to be bringing in almost 150 new jobs. This Amazon warehouse, I know there's a project similar to what has been announced here in Manhattan and Salina. I think they have estimated between 70 and 100 jobs there in Salina. I don't think any of those job numbers have been determined here in Manhattan. But I mean, between those two projects alone, there's maybe 200-300 families that are going to be moving into the area. So we're excited to provide a workforce housing product and places for these people to live. So thank you for your support. We're opening it up to any questions that you guys may have.
Question. Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thanks again.
Thank you,
I will
guys.
Thank you.
conduct a public hearing now. People who wish to speak on this issue. I have one person signed up, Claudia.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Claudia Luthai. I am a resident of Stephen Court, which is the adjacent neighborhood to Little.
You want to give us your address?
2064 Stephen
Thank you.
Court. The reason why I'm here tonight is just to pose a few things for your consideration. I am a long-term, over 50 years, as a real estate agent in Manhattan, Kansas, so I'm well aware of the need for affordable housing. My questions tonight concern more, can we support this project as a city and maintain the infrastructure that is deteriorating on Little Kitten and specifically on Stephen Court if we go through this construction process? And so, and I'm here speaking for myself. There are a number of members of the Stephen Court community, which we like to call ourselves, which has been in existence for over 20 years, and we have a homeowners association, and so that helps us have a sense of community, sense of pride of ownership, in that we, strive to maintain values that will increase and not decrease. The impact of this project on our neighborhood could be a very positive impact, but it could also have a very negative impact if it's not completed in the manner in which it's what's been described, what I'm aware of at this point. And so what I would like to ask again is that you consider how the city will support this project by maintaining the infrastructure necessary so that it can handle the traffic that's going to exist by, contributing 26 more households, which maybe 4 or 5 members per household and at least 2 cars. And so you start doing that math and you're saying, we already have a problem. What are we going to do to fix that problem before we have all those people moving into the neighborhood? So the other possibility that I see is that we've got a certain price point that I understand from what Gavin said that is going to be somewhat determined by the state of Kansas, and I've heard the price of $318,000 to $330,000 thrown out there. So the average person is going to need a 10% down payment, and people don't always have that, plus closing costs, and then they've got to qualify for a mortgage, and you're looking at people needing to have in excess of $2,000 a month income to do that. So I'm hoping that we will have a market for that price point for what is being offered. And I'm not saying that we won't have, but I hope that when you look at this overview, you've got a third party constructing these financial numbers that support the price point of that we're looking at there. So again, thank you for the time for the comments. And one quick thing, we'd like to invite anybody from Frontier Development to come and meet with our Homeowners Association at some point, attend a meeting, and invite any city folks that are interested in the project to come as well. We can be in touch about that.
Is there anyone else who'd like to comment on this issue?
Good evening, Commissioners. Jason Smith, President and CEO of the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce, 904 LeCharno.
Address, Jason.
I'm sorry?
Address.
904 LeCharno. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not pronouncing that right. It may be Locarno. I don't know. We never have figured it out in the neighborhood. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm here tonight to speak in support of the RHID for LK Townhomes. Let me start with the most pressing issue our community faces today: the lack of housing, or specifically housing that is attainable for working families. This project addresses that need. We consistently hear from employers that the shortage of workforce housing makes it difficult to attract or retain employees, whether it's teachers, hospital staff, first responders, or early career professionals. They're struggling to find options in a price range that matches their income. This proposal creates exactly that kind of housing, which is homes that are within reach for people who make our community function. Secondly, this is infill development, which is crucial for a fiscally responsible community. By building on lots that are already within our city infrastructure, we avoid costly expense of new roads, utilities, expanded ambulance service, and significant pieces of other public services. That's a win for taxpayers and a win for sustainability. Next, while we are interested in attracting external investment, it is important to note that this project is being led by local developers, people who live and work in Manhattan, who understand our needs, and who are committed to building quality homes for our community. Supporting local builders keeps dollars circulating within our economy and reinforces our long-term economic resilience. If we choose not to act, if these lots are left as they are, there is significant evidence that we're leaving money on the table. Vacant land in developed neighborhoods does not generate the tax revenue our community needs to fund services, but developed lots, occupied homes, and new residents do. Over time, the property taxes, sales taxes from new residents, and economic activity this development will generate will far exceed the proposed deferred revenue. We appreciate the city's presentation outlining that over $3 million in city and county revenues generated by this project over 25 years. That is a significant increase over the $175 that would be generated by doing nothing. There isn't any reason to believe that lots that have been vacant for nearly 40 years will develop without assistance anytime in the next 15. So at that time, we may look back at this opportunity as squandered if we don't take advantage of the capital commitment that is in front of us. In closing, this project addresses a critical community need, uses city infrastructure wisely, improves the tax base, and supports local business. We respectfully urge you to approve the Reinvestment Housing Incentive District and allow this project to move forward. It represents the kind of thoughtful, community-driven development Manhattan needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, Gary Olds, 3308 Frontier Circle, Manhattan. I'm just asking a clarifying question. Are these townhomes owner-occupied always and forever until they're not within the program, or are they potential rentals as well? Because I understood that RHID was only owner-occupied, and then somebody else said, no, that's not correct. RHID can be either or.
It can be either or, but from what I've seen from the documentation, is that they are planned to be sold.
Any other comments?
Amber Starling, 408 Houston Street. As we've discussed the Unger complex and this one here over the last few weeks, it's become clear that there are some grave misconceptions around workforce housing. Workforce housing is not the same as low-income housing or public housing. It's defined by City Resolution number 120324-A. Homes valued at $161,000 to $336,000. Rentals is up to $1,000 a month for a studio or one bedroom, 2 bedrooms of up to $1,300, 3 bedrooms of up to $1,700, and 4 bedrooms of up to $2,200 a month. These are working class and middle class families. Nurses, welders, soldiers, the mental health providers, and public works employees that we just honored. The misconception that property values would decrease or that crime would increase when these families move in is patently unfair. There's also a misconception that these will all be new families moving in, driving growth that we aren't ready for. I'm very glad that you addressed that, Commissioner Opelt. That also misses key information. I'm a resident of Northview, the food desert on a floodplain that houses much of Manhattan's working class. In Northview, 501 households live in trailer homes in Tornado Alley. This is not a long-term housing solution, and neither are many of the rentals, largely unregulated, where young professionals, blue-collar workers, and graduate students call home. Our housing inventory is so low in comparison to our demand that buyers are regularly paying $10,000 above the asking price, and even at that rate, others are being outbid. We, the voters, passed the half-cent sales tax funding the workforce housing projects in 2020. I have no love whatsoever for developers, and I've made that clear, but I have a deep camaraderie for my siblings in the working class and respect for the will of our voters. I ask the public and our elected officials to remember what workforce housing means and who it serves. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other people interested in making comments, I would turn to the commission.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. I just want to thank Gavin and Tyler for all the work that you guys have put into this. I know there were so many opportunities where this project couldn't have went forward and you kept just working at it. I feel like we've been working on it forever and you guys really have been. And you guys are really taking all the risk in this one, so appreciate all that work. And want to thank Stephanie and her team for kind of leading us through this and guiding that. This is a great tool. I'm excited you guys are using it. I'm really looking forward to this project. And I like that you're going to attend an HOA meeting. I saw both of you being excited. Happy to jump in on that one too. I live near there, so.
I'll just second Jamie's comment and just add that I'm happy to see these now coming around. We've been working on this for a number of years and all these housing initiatives, and it's nice to see it all come together.
Yeah, this is kind of the perfect project for something like this. You know, I know there was a comment about the infrastructure, but part of the concern with these lots is the kind of the last 50 feet of infrastructure for each lot not being used is very detrimental to that infrastructure, and so who knows what they're going to find once they get in there and start digging around. So hopefully most of it's still in pretty good shape, but you know, that's kind of part of what really spurred us on to do this, was so that can be maintained, and it hasn't been for a long time. So, yeah, thanks to Gavin and Tyler for putting this, having patience, and Stephanie, you and your staff did a really great job putting this together, so thank you.
At the risk of sounding ditto, but I'm really pleased with the way the entire commission has rallied behind the support of workforce housing. It's been a real learning curve for us as well as for the developers. I'm optimistic that we've gotten through these 6 steps and that hopefully the 7th will be right along behind us very soon. And I'm excited that we're seeing this project come to fruition. So thank you all who participated.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I think we're all cognizant of the fact that we're asking the county and the school district to also possibly lose some dollars on this, but I think it's important that we try as many ways as we can to make this work for Manhattan and the community.
Can I interrupt you, Karen?
But
Forgo dollars, not losing dollars.
thank you.
Very
Forgrow.
important.
Thank you, Forgrow. Thank you. I just want to make sure that we understand where they're coming from, but we hope that they will honor our agreement to kind of do workforce housing for both the school district and the county. I also hope that since we do have some dollars collected from the sales tax for housing, that we also ask staff to give us some other possibilities. We don't have to do everything RHID. There's a number of ways that we could possibly encourage people to move here, perhaps with, as I've mentioned before, incentives, helping people with their down payments, that kind of thing. And those seem to have worked for other communities, particularly I've been talking to people in Tulsa about some things that they've done. So, saying all that, go for it. And I hope this all works out to be a wonderful thing and you can get together with the neighbors and find some meetings of the mind. Motion?
I'll move that we approve the first reading of an ordinance establishing a Reinvestment Housing Incentive District and adopting a development plan for LK Townhomes, and approve and authorize city administration to execute a development agreement for the project with the Frontier Development Group.
Second.
Oh, sorry, Susan.
It's been moved and seconded twice. Brenda, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Opel,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitten,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Brenda?
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitten,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk.
Yes.
Commissioner Opel.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.